part 8 of the series in the new server covers from day 15 to 21, marking the end of the third week with this character, going from level 106 to 120. But this week was pretty rough for me. I didn't play as much. Some days I barely did over 1 hour, partly because I was also taking part on the Tibia tournament, which I ended on rank 22 for the NA store server. I don't plan on making content about the tournament because it was the last one and they were very clear on not having intentions of bringing them back. I also didn't do anything special. I did personally enjoy the tournaments and have played on most of them. But at the same time, I was constantly disappointed on how bad Sip's approach to the tournament was, so I'm kinda glad they are over. But moving on from that, another reason I didn't play as much was because of the motivation. I was feeling stuck in not coming up with better places to hunt and also dying often into spawns I was already familiar with, so I just tried to get a bit of progress where I could and looking forward to level 130 and the ultimate manas. For day 16, I hunted just Greenbelt, going from level 108 to 110 and ended the day on a death. This one was more reasonable as I got comboed by 3 monsters, so it wasn't as upsetting, but I still logged out after that. Day 17 started with continuing to hunt on Greenbelt. At this moment, it was the best spawn I could hunt because it was more likely to be available and I was also doing my tasks for the werewolves. But despite all the hunts I have done, it doesn't get easier, as I almost added another death to the count. Regardless, I continued to hunt until 111, where by finishing another werewolf task, I was promoted to the big game hunter rank. Here is where I realized the big mistake I had done. All this time, my reason to doing the task for the killing in the name of quest is because I thought that at 40 points, I would be able to sell trophies, and if I was to get there faster than others, I'd be able to buy and resell them for a profit. Turns out that at this rank, I can only sell a few of them. This was a big hit to my morale because now I feel like I did waste a lot of time focusing on finishing tasks, and I want to point this out because now I believe that doing tasks is only worth for the ranger rank at 20 points. And at the same time, especially because if you don't do tasks and start with the level 130 ones, you will be getting extra points that get your promotion faster. At this point, I'm already more than halfway to the trophy hunter rank, so I will continue doing more, but I don't recommend others to do it, unless it just happens to be a creature that is worth hunting to you. Another thing that I did on this day was to start doing the Warzone task in the lava lurkers. These can be done at level 100, but I honestly forgot about them, so I started late. These are very profitable and it only takes 3 minutes to do, and can be repeated every 20 hours. I also did the Behemoth quest, which I also should have done sooner as it is a quest for level 80s, but even now it's still good money because the Demon Shield goes for over 50k on the market. I was also testing a bit of hunting the Behemoths, and I got lucky with a Steel Boots drop. As for the testing, it didn't feel worth the effort, so I might try again later. I then finished the day getting 112 in the Isabi surface, which is still the best experience spawn, that is if you are able to get it to yourself. Day 18, I did the least. Greenbelt was taken, so instead I did a hunt in the Kralos spider lair to work on more tasks and also bestiary, and then did a short test hunt once again at the Putrid Mummies to see if they were better now that I had more levels. But it was pretty much the same as before, a profit spawn with low SP. After that hunt, I logged out at level 113.5. On day 19, I wanted to continue working on bestiary, so the first hunts I did were on the Vampire Crit. This continues to be the best profit spawn due to the Vampire Dust and Tits, and it did get a bit easier with more levels. After 1 hour of that, I went back to the Kralos spider lair, and to my surprise, I ended up dying. I kinda knew it was bound to happen due to how hard I was hunting, but my surprise was that instead of dying in the pools of over 10 monsters, I died to basically one Brimstone Bug combo, and by now you should know that those deaths are the ones that tilt me the most. But I still wanted to play, so to recover the experience, I went to Greenbelt as per usual, got my level back to lose it once again shortly after, again to an unexpected combo. I came back and got the level 116 for the third time and then called it a day. But before logging out, I stayed around to try and win the bid for a house. I also tried the day before but lost the bid in the end. So today I was going to snipe somebody else and I ended up getting a small house in Edron for 400k. which I didn't think they would still be this expensive, but it goes to show how important using casks is. For day 20, I finished my task for Brimstone and also the bestiary for them, and after that I started to work on the new frontier quest. Once I unlocked access to the Muggy Plains, I did a test hunt for the Stampers to see if it will be worth hunting, as they are also taskable, but they're not, at least not for my level. Maybe for level 80s, but still the experience was kinda low even for that range. Regardless, the reason I did the quest wasn't for them, but rather I plan on hunting Lizard Chosens and maybe trying out hunting the Muggy Plains surface as well. However, I will do that later. But for now, I wanted to continue to hunt for bestiary the creatures that I left close to finishing. Because of that, I headed back to the Dark Faun's cave in Faeres, hunting from level 118 to 120, and by then I was done with the bestiary for them. The spawn did improve a bit from my previous hunts. I was more consistent on the 600k average of raw XP, and making a bit of profit every hunt. But once again, this was another day where I played just a bit over 1 hour and stopped, marking the end of the third week. Like I said at the start, in general, I play less than 2 hours every day of the third week, but I also feel like that's more a realistic playtime now that the rush of the new server is slowing down. I believe most people are not able to hunt their 3 hours of green stamina every day, so perhaps I shouldn't either. But we will see about that, because I still continue to play every day and consistently make progress. With that, the results for the third week were from level 103 to 120, because keep in mind, I covered day 15 on the part 7 of the series, but from day 16 to 21, I went from level 108 to 120, from magic level 61 to 64, spending 78 Tibia coins on Grey Mana Cask, and also about 75 coins worth of gold for the house, and buying back 375 TCs throughout the days. With that said, thank you for watching and following this series, and a special thanks to the supporters of the channel, Tuna Hero, Thor the Slasher, and Drunken Watson.